They're out of money, which is kind of a little scary. The reason that we know that is because their credit cards are declining, and not all of them. Some of them are
It's more than normal.
Way more than normal, and it has me a little concerned over the overall economy right now. And we predict that an astronomical amount of them are actually out of money right now. We were at the Reserve, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were
And
talking
you told
about.
me the positive, negative, positive sandwich. You know how it happened?
Wait, did I give you one of those sandwiches? And then
No, I saw you give somebody else the sandwich.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, PNP. Highly effective. It's the nice way of letting somebody know that they did
That you're
something wrong.
disappointed.
This is so bad. I don't know if I told you this. This is hilarious. So I went back there and was fully rejected from the Whitney. This is a true story.
Wait, what?
Oh, I think I forgot to tell you that.
Welcome back to Mike It Loud with Brittany Racine. Today, we are bringing back somebody from season 1. Andy Ward is with me, and he is absolutely built for podcast conversations. He was episode 3 in season 1, and if you haven't listened to that one yet, be sure to go back and listen because he has a way of making every business story hilarious. And in his first episode, he really is just giving you the background of how his business started and some of the hurdles that he went through along the way. But it's super entertaining and hilarious, and that will give you a little bit of background to what we're going into today. One thing that makes Andy stand out is he's sharp, he's hilarious, and he's wildly self-aware. But it's not just his personality that make these conversations so great. It's how brutally honest he is about the 10 years he spent making every wrong mistake in business. As I've spent more time with Andy over the past year, we've had a lot of business conversations that weren't on the first podcast, and they were so simple, but also could totally change the game in your business. I wanted to bring him back because he is going to break down these revelations that he's had over the years through finances and wealth building, whether it's managing staff, scaling fast, and simplifying these to very basic real world understanding. Even if you're here just for a good laugh, I guarantee you will still learn something. And with that, here is Andy Ward with Ward's Equipment Rental.
We're back with Andy. If you listen to season 1, Andy was episode 3, Turds to Triumph, and it was one of our favorites. But we've hung out a bunch since then, and I feel like come up with some good material that needed to be brought back.
Yeah, I like that the material's pretty organic, you know? Well, I'm happy to be back.
Yes.
So this is, my one and only podcast. I'm going to stay loyal to it.
So in season 1, we talked about the story of Wards.
Yes. This year was our busiest year ever, but it felt really slow. And
Why?
I think, I think that we've gotten so organized now. And I think that's huge because when you feel slow and you're busy, I think that means you've finally gotten somewhere,
yeah.
right? One of my biggest regrets from going back to the very beginning was not creating systematic functions for everything. If I could go back, I would have created systematic functions for how to put a pen cap on. Seriously.
Okay.
What direction the steering wheel needs to be in when you park your truck. Seems silly. Your SOPs, your standard operating procedures. That's what I regret not documenting during my first 10 years of business. But it's also been a really weird year too. And I hate to say this and I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of the middle sized, small to middle sized landscapers, they're out of money.
Okay.
They're out of money, which is kind of a little scary. The reason that we know that is because their credit cards are declining, and not all of them. Some of them are
It's more than normal.
way more than normal, and it has me a little concerned over the overall economy right now. And one of the reasons why is because I feel like when the middle class tanks, it's a chain reaction, I guess would be an appropriate way to say it. And what our prediction is and what some of the results that have came out are from like American Rental Association and other places is that when people were getting all of this COVID money, people weren't asking how much. They were just saying, will you do it?
Yes.
And so they would just come and charge whatever. So these smaller landscapers were, quote, printing money. Well, that's not true anymore. People are back to price shopping. The world's getting back to normal. And these landscapers continued their spending habits. Mm-hmm. And we predict that an astronomical amount of them are actually out of money right now.
Okay.
And that kind of scares me because we only work in like the landscape concrete field. And we're seeing that trend all the way across. So I don't know how many other middle class fields are out there that could be experiencing the same thing, but it is a little scary to think about if they truly have spent irresponsibly instead of using that opportunity to get ahead.
Right. I think it's weird too, because like, yeah, the economy has had a huge impact on it, but I also think that like you're trying to keep up with the times, you're trying to keep up with technology, you're trying to keep up with the way everything's going, which is like a full-time job in itself. But it's like you can't even keep up anymore. Like you have to be ahead.
Oh yeah.
Like you have to be ahead and spend properly and deal with the economic swings that have been going on. So it's like that's a lot for people to stay up on.
It is. I mean, I think one advantage some of these smaller landscapers and a lot of small businesses are going to have is I predict they're going to have an influx of help. Do you remember how the trend during COVID? You can't find help. Unless you pay them, help is nowhere.
Yeah.
No one wants to work. Everybody's home. I actually think it's going to go the other way, and I think AI is going to actually make a ton of people are going to lose their jobs. To be clear, I don't wish that.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to happen.
And it'll make people more competitive to want to work.
I do.
Because they're so replaceable.
Yes, I think the job market, yes, I think people are going to go from 5 years ago where they're like, either give me 100K or I'm not working, to now,
Okay,
can I
I'll
have a
take
job?
60.
I'll take 60,000, like just, or 50,000, whatever it is.
That makes sense.
That's what
I think it'll be kind of a quick shift too.
Me too. Yeah. I hate to beat AI into the ground, but I mean, we've been friends for a long time now, how passionate that I am about it. And I just can't say enough. My prediction, I think, is going to be bigger than the dot-com boom.
Okay.
I think it is going to be bigger than anything we've ever experienced in our life from a technological standpoint. It's going to take over every facet of everything that we do. And I've spent an astronomical amount of time and money, and I'm not done yet, implementing that in Ward's equipment rental. So if you're not implementing AI in your business, I think you're going to be done.
What are you guys looking to expand?
Yeah, we are actually. I just had a terrible meeting with the South Lyon Township last night.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I went to a zoning meeting and got turned down really bad. Made me feel like, my club days when I was 18. But yeah, I had a zone. I'm trying to actually buy another place in South Lyon right now, 35,000 square foot facility, and I think that this is what's going to ultimately take my business from where it's at right now to where it needs to be, so I can hopefully at some point in time sell and exit. That's my goal. Basically what happened is, in order to put a company in a specific city, you need a special use permit. And equipment rental was not listed as a permitted use within the township. Vehicle rental was there, and I submitted my permit to them to be classified as vehicle rental.
You gonna get a Sprinter van?
Yeah, I know.
I told you the limo idea.
With the window I know, you did tell me that.
I did. I said you need Ward's limo. Just one.
I've thought about that, actually. Me and one of my guys one time thought about buying a limo, but we thought that we would use all the profits using it ourselves, so we decided against it.
You could just rent it out a few times, right?
Yes. It's actually kind of interesting, the limos actually are not that expensive to buy if you look at them. You can get some used ones, but I think that they've been parted in so hard that none of the knobs work. They're all seriously.
Like puke on the carpet.
Yes, right. Like they got to collect the $200 fees for all the puke on the carpet, and then we buy it.
Wait, so you tried to do that?
We officially got rejected by the zoning administrator that was like, you're not that. You're not that. Anyways, long story short, there was yes. So there was a board of 5 people. 4 people were listening. The 5th one wasn't. I needed 3 votes. Yes, that's it. And 4 of them were interacting with me and the zoning guy and whatever. Anyways, it was 2-2. On the voting, 2 voted for me, 2 voted for the guy, and this woman on the end was the deal breaker or whatever. And I don't know if she was falling asleep or not listening, but they're like, Gloria, and what's your vote? And I'm not kidding you. The guy that voted no kind of nudged her, not physically, just kind of hey, Gloria, like
I know, right?
Yes. Hey, we voted no. Like, what's your vote? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear very well. No. So now I have to take a new approach. It's more expensive. Gloria cost me about 100 days by saying no, and she was sleeping. It really pissed me off. Love you, Gloria.
What is one thing that you think is holding people back from pursuing a big idea, like expanding like you are and being like, well, I don't know how to make my own category. Like, what is one thing that you think is holding people back from, I don't know, coming up with a big idea and running with it?
I think a lot of people, honestly, are scared to take risks. As cliche as it sounds, they really don't believe in themselves to be able to really do it, But I just think that if your idea feels a little bit lonely, but deep down that it's right and it's good and it's profitable and you feel it, I mean, nobody's going to be a big cheerleader to yourself than yourself.
That has the whole
Yes.
vision of it. I think too, like a lot of people stop because they're like, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to
Sure.
talk about zoning, so they just like drop it, or they try to find somebody else
Right.
to help them with that, and then that person, it's like not their main priority,
Right.
so like they don't. I don't want to say do a good job, but like I think so many people get stuck because they think like I don't know how to do that, or I've never been trained how to do that, instead of thinking like I'm gonna learn how to do that.
I also think a lot of people get advice from people that also don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
It's always interesting because people love giving advice, right?
Oh my gosh.
They love giving advice, especially about things they don't know. So
Yeah.
they're just like sending people on wild goose chases for no
Right.
reason. And I think that that's hilarious and sad all at once, because if that person was a good friend or had any brains at all, they would probably say, you know what, that's a really good question. I have no clue.
Right.
Right?
What's the worst advice you've ever got?
Oh my
that
gosh.
Someone gave you and they're like, that was the worst. Like what?
I don't know. I've gotten a lot of bad advice.
I feel like you're really good at deciding, like deciphering in your brain. Like, you're good at reading behind the lines. I don't know how.
Yeah, I think that I'm mad at myself right now because I can't really think of the saying, but there's a saying, never take advice from somebody. Oh boy. Let's see here what it is.
From someone that you don't want to trade places with?
Uh,
Is it that one? So that's it though, right?
yeah, you never take advice with somebody that you wouldn't want to switch places with.
And they're always the ones that have the most advice.
They do, yes. The people who you actually have to ask advice and go after advice for, I think, are generally going to give you better advice than somebody who's going out of their way offering it up constantly. One of the things that I think caused a little bit resentment between my dad and I growing up is, my dad, he did such a good job running his business. Like he was fantastic. Small family owned hardware store, but my business is a lot different, and
How you run it is probably way different.
yeah, how I run is different, and it's just a different business. And it's not that I didn't think he was smart enough to do it. He was, but I think a lot of kids like go to their parents for advice on like business stuff, and I actually think parental advice when it comes down to business is generally bad unless you're asking your mom and dad like how to do something that they've truly already done
Right.
and or are an expert at.
Wait, I kind of agree with you because I feel like parents, it's like our job to like protect our kids.
Yes.
So like when you're like, I want to take this huge risk and it could flop and end up I'm
Yes.
bankrupt.
Right.
So they're like, oh no, don't do that. Like they
Right.
want you to keep it safe. Like especially even with like the podcast, like sharing so many vulnerable things in my life. I feel like the one person that's always like, oh, I don't know if you should say that is
Right.
always my parents because they're
Yeah.
like scared of the backlash that I'm gonna get.
Yeah,
It's not necessarily like that what I'm doing is wrong. I
Right.
think they're just looking to like cover for you, and a lot of times I think that boxes people in because their parents are like, don't take that risk. Or,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
I feel like if deep down you could look in the mirror and you truly feel that it's right and you feel a little bit lonely at the same time, it's probably good.
Yeah.
I think that those are the two feelings that you kind of need to, because when I told people I was doing a lot of stuff with the equipment rental, and we talked about this on the first podcast, like I'm going to buy my first skid loader, my dad, like, what are you going to do with that thing?
Yeah, like,
well,
that's
thank
so
God I didn't
expensive.
listen.
Right.
I almost didn't buy it.
That's like all you do.
That's all we do now, so like, I mean, thank God I took the path to not listen and say, I know what I'm doing is right.
What? So you say you want to take your company from 4 million to 15 million.
Yeah.
What is your roadmap? Do you have a roadmap, or are you like I
Yeah.
like to have kind of like a roadmap, but it's not like in chronological order yet.
Right.
Because I feel like sometimes you do one thing and then you're like, I can't do two until I do this one.
Right.
Or you don't know that. Like it makes sense to put it in that order, but then when you start doing it, you're like, number 2 doesn't fall into place until you do number
Right.
8. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I was the best thing for Ward's equipment rental from 1 to 3 million. From 3 to
Yeah.
4 million, I've been the worst thing for Ward's equipment rental.
Why? Because your team is good.
Because I'm a bottleneck. Because the equipment rental and the business and the way that it functions and runs is so much larger than me.
Yeah.
I try to do it all myself. You fast forward to today, and I'm missing a call while I'm putting a sticker registration tab on a license plate. It's a
So
true
you're
story.
like in your own way.
Yeah, like I'm just in my own way. So documenting what we do, I think is going to be absolutely mission critical, and then holding the right team accountable is also going to be mission critical. I think with that, going from 4 to 15 million should be easier than going from 200,000 to a million.
Yeah, I've actually heard that.
Yeah. My first million was the hardest, for sure.
Everybody says the first million's the hardest.
Yes. And I remember telling Joe, my buddy who worked at the rental center with me a long time ago, I said, we're at 200,000 now. When I get to a million, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going anymore.
I'm just warmed up. Now
Right.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Now I'm having fun with it.
I went from 2, or from 1, then I said I'm going to go to 2, and then I'm done. Then from 2, I said I was going to go to 5, and I'm done. And then now I got to 4. I'm like, okay, I'm so done being done. I'm just going to go ahead and let's just, yeah. Like I need more beef Wellingtons in my life.
Yeah. Can't stop.
Yeah.
So are you like planning?
Did you tell anybody on the podcast the time you got drunk and ate a beef Wellington at the?
I didn't even want to. I didn't even want
Yeah,
a beef Wellington.
seriously. So I think we need to tell. I think we need to tell them this. Seriously, we were in Detroit. We were hanging out. We were having some cocktails.
It was the three of us. So
was
Andy, Anthony, and me.
Yes.
And we were we went down there just a bar hop.
We
but
did.
then we ended up looking at
We did a little
condos.
bar hop. We looked at condos. We cleverly disguised ourselves as responsible adults. And we're running around Detroit on scooters and made a last-minute decision to go to the Whitney.
Yeah.
And
We had just ate though. I'm literally still full.
and it was kind of a good story because I trade with not the owner, but I'm on this organized barter network, and the Whitney is part of it. And it was funny because we walked in there and everybody was in suit coats and jackets.
Andy looked like Billy Madison.
I did. I think I had a blue pair of Skechers on with some tall socks. And it was real. I was not dressed for the Whitney.
I don't know what you were dressed like.
Anthony had a baseball cap on and looked like he was going golfing the next morning.
Yeah.
And I think you were the only one that maybe fit the Whitney
No,
bill.
I was way too clubby.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Yeah, I had heels on and a really short something. I don't even know what. Not appropriate for the Titanic.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. But our waitress came up to us, and you could tell she was very into the mansion and its aura and everything around, and really found us disrespectful. And
she was just annoyed of us.
Yes, she was. So she ended up getting her coworker, and her coworker came up, and what did she tell us?
She was like, "Oh, she had a family emergency. She had to leave." But also the coworker, I don't think she talks to customers. She's she was so nervous.
Yeah, she might have been the hostess.
Yeah, she was not a waitress.
Yeah, but she said that the other girl that didn't like us, our first waitress, had a family emergency.
And had to leave immediately.
But she continued to wait on tables next to us.
The whole room that we were in. We were in this side room, and she waited on every single table except ours.
Yeah, so I think that night we asked her if she split her tips, and she said no. And somehow we racked up a $400 bill in about 45 minutes. Okay, because you ordered a beef Wellington, and when
they were like, "Do you want the lobster?" I was like, "Yeah." Yours was a lobster.
Was
you
it?
were like, "I'll have the steak," and she's like, "Do you want the tail with it?" And you were like, "No," right as I said yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so we ended up racking up a big bill, and then Anthony gave her a $400 tip and said, "Make sure it doesn't go to the woman that didn't like us," right?
Yeah, maybe we should go back.
We do need to go back, and we were supposed to ask for that girl again, but I can't remember her name.
Me either. Should we wear Titanic clothes or something else weird?
I think we need to do something more appropriate than my
Should
blue
we go
Skechers.
all out Titanic?
We could, actually. And it is that vibe, isn't it?
It is.
It is that vibe. You know what? This is so bad. I don't know if I told you this. This is hilarious. So I went back there and was fully rejected from the Whitney. This is a true story.
Wait, what?
Oh my gosh. I think I forgot to tell you that. So yeah, I guess the Whitney hates me. I went to a Lions game with my dad.
And they said no?
No, I'm serious. And he had a Ed Hardy shirt on. This is
Ed
true
Hardy?
story. Yes. And I had a Lions jersey on. And I looked up the code. It says you could wear a team jersey the day of the game.
Okay.
So as soon as we parked up there, the manager literally didn't even let us get out of our car. Walked up, says, "Hi, can we help you today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're just gonna eat."
Here to get a Wellington?
Yeah, I'm just here to get a welly. Can you drop a one beef welly and a lobster tail on the side?
They were like, "Get back in your car."
Yeah, well, as soon as we walk in, I think the guy had paged the dude in the front, and he's like, "What can I help you for?" I'm not joking. This really happened. "What can I do for you?" And I was like, "We were gonna eat." They're like, "Okay, we do have a dress code here." And this is that. So yeah,
Did you say I just looked it up and it said game day jerseys are fine?
I did, but then I realized quickly they were referring to my dad. Yeah. So
Did you say, wait right here, I'll go get you food?
No, I was like, do you have a suit jacket you could borrow?
You did?
Yeah.
What'd they say?
No.
Go home?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, Red Robins was good that night. And
You did not go to Red Robin.
we did.
You did?
We did. Yeah. Yeah. We went from beef Wellington to a chicken patty. And it was good. I feel like we could do a podcast just on the Whitney at this point. It's getting serious. And did I jump down the set of stairs and do a loop?
Yeah, we could maybe add that in here.
We might need to. I think that maybe looking back, hindsight, that there is and I do respect this. Like, I think that there's like a respect thing at the Whitney in Detroit where
Please dress
you're
like the
maybe
Titanic.
not supposed. Yeah, you
And
gotta
don't squeak laughing.
dress like the Titanic and don't laugh.
No laughing.
And they want the dinners to take like 4 hours. I don't know how you feel about that.
Oh.
I'll go to a nice steakhouse, and when they come up, like I'm here for the food.
I don't mind like a long dinner experience.
Oh, they kill my soul.
You
but
can't?
No, I can't stand it.
I had to know that I'm going into it. Like that night was not the night for it because we literally just left the tin roof.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I can do it. I just need Desitin first, and I just can't sit that long. I
feel like we did rip through that one seafood place though. Where we got the $140 crab legs for
Oh,
Amazon.
that was the Harbor House in Detroit, which is
Yeah.
actually a fantastic like old
They were quick.
country kitchen type whatever. Yeah, she loved that we blew through that dinner.
Yeah.
That dinner was $400 too. Yeah, I feel like since me, you, and Anthony have been, going on excursions or whatever. I mean, it's been pretty heavy for like the last year. I feel like we've spent about $50K in restaurants somehow.
I don't know. I always get off on it good because
Yeah,
one of you pays,
right.
Or then you give him cash,
Right.
and he's like, "It's too much to go in my wallet," so then it goes in my purse. So I'm like, "I got
Yes.
free dinner and I got money."
That
This is great.
happened at the reserve the other night. Anthony, have you ever noticed he always takes my cash?
Yeah.
Always.
Well, who do you give it to?
I don't know. Well, no, he takes my cash and then uses his card. He did that at the reserve the other night. It was $400, and I gave him $300 in cash. I paid $300. I was going to try to pay her.
Oh.
He ripped the $300 and put it in his wallet.
Oh, really?
And then
I'm gonna go find his wallet then.
Yeah, it's there. It's there.
Well, I had some people reach out that had questions about your money strategy and how you don't believe in saving, you want to
Right.
invest. Can you give us a little bit more to chew on from that?
Yeah, my unpopular money strategy. What I recommend for basically every person that's starting out, how do you start your financial freedom? I feel like we grew up in a world where, your mom
Save,
said,
save.
well, if you just put $50 a month away, you're never going to miss it. And they were partially true, but they were mathematically incorrect because that $50 a month that you put away, eventually they're like, look, it's $10,000 now. But it's interesting the people who have now saved $10,000 that have $10,000 in credit card debt.
Right.
So what your mom should have said is take that $50 a month and pay it on your credit card from the candy bars you bought and stop the interest bleed. It's cool to save, but make sure to put it in a high interest bearing account that can beat inflation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, inflation is going up. I mean, I know COVID was a bit of an anomaly, right? But that aside, they say inflation goes up, 1 to 3% a year, So if you have cash in a briefcase, it's literally losing money because you're 100,000, you need 103,000 the next year for it to be
Right.
worth that much. So having cash in a briefcase obviously makes no sense. But if you can put your money into an asset that beats inflation massively, then you're now beating the market too. And it just amazes me how many people have car loans, credit card loans, loans on anything. I mean, it could be a student loan, minus some of the strategic tax deductions that come with student loans. Student loans can be a little bit of the exception, but those aside, I mean, if you have any loans and you're saving money, I think mathematically you're an idiot.
You're losing money.
Yes. Yeah. And, the argument, with my philosophy always comes with, what happens if it's a rainy day? What happens? What happens if all of a sudden now you haven't saved any money? Congratulations on your lack of debt, okay, but you now immediately need new tires on your car and you didn't save. And that's where I think that, again, we talked about this on the first podcast, owning a home with a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, that you can borrow against is the best financial position you can ever be in.
What about when you're talking about buying skid loaders?
Oh,
They're
buying
like,
skid
oh,
loaders.
it's 0% or 1%
Right.
or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, I live with the philosophy that two money things in life that are not real, right? Anything that's 0% and anything that offers free shipping. Okay,
you're paying.
yeah, those things just don't exist. Yeah, I think my biggest example ever was skid loaders. I was tricked for the first 15 years of my business. Not only did we really not have any money, but I also wasn't smart enough to realize that the 0% financing was built into
The price.
the price. So they basically, what they did was they went to Wells Fargo and they said, hey, how much are you going to charge for this skid loader to borrow the $60,000 for 4 years? And Wells Fargo was like, well, we charge 6% interest on that. It's going to be $6,200. So they're like, okay, well, I'll give you $6,200 in advance. Can you give my buyer 0% interest? They're like, sure, we'll take the interest up front. They're happy to do that or whatever. So
How did you figure that out?
Well, then they increased the price by $6,200 and gave me 0% financing, which was not 0% financing. I literally was paying 6% interest on a 0% loan.
Yeah.
And it's even worse. I actually paid it up front. I gave them all $6,200 up front, theoretically, right? I found it out when I was online one day. I found it out actually kind of by accident, and I looked at it, and they said that one of these skid loaders that I bought regularly, a Model T64 made by Bobcat, was offering a $6,600 rebate. And so I called up my guy, and I was kind of thinking he wasn't maybe giving me these rebates that I needed. And so I was like, hey, Kyle, what about can you give me a quote on this? So he gave me a quote on it, and I said, what about this rebate? He's like, are you talking about the $6,200? I'm like, yeah, where's that at? He's like, yeah, that's only if you pay cash. I'm like, wait a minute. So it's 0% financing unless I pay cash, and then I get $6,200 off? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, well, I want that money. So then I figured out at $60,000 per skid loader, every time I buy 9, I get 1 free. Yeah.
So is that your order?
Yeah.
I'll have 9.
Yeah, so I do. Yeah, so I bought 10, and I only paid for 9. When I first started doing it, it was really hard, right? Because I'd have to write these checks for $200,000 and $300,000 for skid loaders that took a year or two to pay me back. But what was happening was that I was avoiding these $60,000 and $70,000 built-in interest, and I was getting, quote, free skid loaders out of the deal. So that skid loader that I got for free would generate $120,000 in revenue. Well, guess what I did with that $120,000 in revenue? Instead of spending it, I bought 2 more skid loaders cash and saved $6,200 on each one.
Yeah.
So now you'd always talk about, the famous, I spiraled into debt, but nobody ever talks about how you spiral out of debt.
Yeah.
The more money that you have, the cheaper that the world gives you things for, because you can pay cash for them without financing. Now, fast forward to today, the fleet is fresh, it's new, it's virtually paid off, and we were at one time paying $70,000 a month in monthly payments. Now we're paying, $10,000. So now we have enough liquid to write a check for a skid loader every month, saving $6,200 every month, or $70,000 a year, or a free skid loader every year.
Yeah.
That pays again $120,000 back. So
I feel like you've learned so much though.
yeah, I have.
Like in the past, even 5 years.
Yes, I have. I hate to repeat stuff, from what we talked about before. A lot of it's just my life, but you show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. Mm-hmm. That is what your future looks
1,000%.
like. And moving into the subdivision that I now live in, surrounding myself with some of these people that thought way bigger than me, gave me a mindset that I really
Never could have had.
Never could have had, and it was just such an accident again that that I fell into this. So fast forward, what would I do sooner? I think I would have gotten the biggest house loan I could have gotten and maybe moved in here broke.
Yeah.
And maybe made more money faster just by
Surrounding
being a
yourself,
spot.
like being in the room with the right people.
Right.
I do think it's huge, like once you figure out, like I think there is always a time when like something clicks in your brain and you're like, oh, wait, I actually can do that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like so many people are living in this world where they're like, this is my life and like this is who I am and this is like the capabilities that I have.
Right.
And then all of a sudden something clicks and you're like, wait, I don't know how to do that, but I can learn how to do that.
Right.
Like this person learned how to do that. Why can I not learn how to do that? And then you just figure it out. But then once that is unlocked,
Right.
then it goes in like every different direction for like everything.
You know, one trend that I've noticed with people who are unwilling to advance or unwilling to take a business to the next level or take that risk, I think one of people's biggest enemies of all time, it's just amazing, this might shock you, is their pride. Seriously.
Okay.
People's pride. Like
They don't want to ask questions?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, everybody wants to know everything, and if you don't, you must be stupid. And I just don't believe that. As soon as I moved in here, I knew that I was surrounded by people
who were way smarter,
way better at business than me, have already done it, built businesses sizes that I probably will never even get to, and I'm okay with that. I really had to, I mean, it wasn't hard for me because I already kind of learned how to do it, but I really had to put my pride aside, and instead of somebody talking about how this is how you build $100 million business and being like, I know,
You're like, how do I do that?
Truth of the matter is I don't know, and some of these people who have already done it are much more willing to give people advice that have the ability to set their pride aside and listen instead of just be agreeable and pretend like they actually knew it the whole time because they really didn't.
I do feel like that's actually a red flag for me when people do that, and I'm like, I don't believe them.
Right.
Like when someone's like, oh, I know, I did it, like it's like, no, you didn't. Like I feel like that's the first sign to know that someone's bullshitting you.
Right.
Is when they do that. Because like obviously, especially if you're in a different industry than I am, like if I'm even making way more money than you and you tell me something that worked well for you and I don't know that, I would be like, wait, what is that? Still,
right.
Because how can I maybe implement that into mine? Like there's always something to learn from somebody, regardless if you're making more or less than them.
I think the other amazing thing that people aren't willing to do that is amazing is, you know, setting your pride aside kills two birds with one stone too, right? Because not only does it actually yield you better results by being vulnerable, asking questions and learning and getting advice from somebody smarter than you, but it also makes that person smarter than you feel good, and it costs $0. It costs $0. Only good comes out of setting your pride aside and listening to somebody smarter than you.
Right, and I do think the other person is more likely to give you advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're like, you're not trying to like, I don't know, I don't want to say big dick me.
Yeah. No,
I mean, what else? I don't know.
yeah.
Like you're not competing.
I think you were
me.
trying to use the term dick swinging. I
Is
don't
that
know.
what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But
I think that's what guys use. You know, it's just a dick swinging contest.
Yeah, but like, do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
I feel like you can tell someone right off the bat. You're like, I don't even want to share anything with you because I know what you're here for.
I had this landscaper that came in, and really nice guy, and he came in all the time, and he was like, you know, Andy, you know, you kind of seems like you kind of built the business up a little bit or whatever. You know, I really want to build my landscape business up, and I was honestly a little bit flattered that he asked me. He was a small landscaper. He had 2 trucks and couple guys and whatever, and it made me feel good, right? And so I start telling them, you know,
it's like humbling.
It is humbling, and I was like, well, this is what I do. I'm not a landscaper, but if I was you, I would, you know, try to get organized and build standard operating procedures and do this and do that and whatever. And you know, he immediately. He knew, and I really didn't want to give him any more advice.
You did?
Yeah. You asked me for advice, I gave it to you, and then you just said you knew all of it or whatever.
Which you didn't because
you were asking or whatever, where it would have looked much more impressive to be like, you know what?
That's a really good idea, thanks.
Yeah, it's a really good idea, thanks.
I love bouncing ideas off of people.
I do too. I just think it's a mindset. I think that setting your pride aside and admitting also to like when you're wrong, like is just so important. It just sounds so cliche. We've been hearing it our whole life. Just kind of admit when you're wrong, right? Like it's okay to admit when I'm wrong. But you know, like like, in my place of work or even in my life or social life or whatever it was, I got into something, with a buddy where I had said something I shouldn't have. And, I mean, man, I just owned it. I was like, you know what, you're right. Like,
I feel like it's so easy and it makes people feel better to blame it on somebody else, but you don't learn anything from that when you put your shit on someone else.
Right. I think once you do it the first time and it yields good results, that the first time's the hardest.
What's a belief you have that you think most people would disagree with?
You can't be offended and get better at the same time.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
I think that if somebody brings something to your attention and you get offended, I mean, unless they're truly being rude, right? I mean, unless somebody brings something to your attention and you're offended by that, I just don't think you can be offended and get better at the same time.
Right, because it's like they're saying it for a reason.
You got to pick one. You either got to take it on the chin and get better, or you have to be offended and be defensive.
And then do the same thing.
And then pretty much do the same thing.
Wait,
yeah.
you know what this is reminding me of? When you were like, you're always cutting me off. You always say that I cut you off.
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, you're right. And then sometimes you'll talk, and I'm like, okay, I'm keeping my mouth shut. I listen to the story, but I'm like, but then you tell the story so long sometimes that I'm like, I'm ahead of you.
Yes.
Catch up with me.
Absolutely. Right. And then but you've gotten so much better.
Have I?
Yes.
Okay, and then I think when I cut you off, you're like, oh, I'm talking too long, and then you jump ahead.
Absolutely.
We're really getting it.
Yes. We're Brittany and I are getting dialed in. Yeah. So you go back even like a year. Like I would be like, okay, so I had this high noon. She's like, what flavor was it? And I'm like, okay, but I would say, okay, it was kiwi. And she's like, okay, well, where were you? I was in my car. She's like, the Escalade or the Yukon? I would be like, wait, oh my gosh. Like, do you even care about, because we're never going to get to the punchline here. So I feel like Brittany and I have a new problem. So she was initially the offender, okay? Now she shuts up, she lets me talk, and I talk so long, she's forced to interrupt me. So we've kind of switched roles, and now I'm annoying. And so I'm thinking that I'm hoping that we slingshot back into.
I think we're getting it.
Are we going to meet in the middle? Okay.
Yeah, I think we're there.
Yeah, you started it.
I think you checked me, and I was like, okay, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
But then I listened to your story, and I was like,
yeah.
I'm already so much farther ahead of you. Skip that.
Right. Now I'm going to. Well, maybe I'm making up for lost time for all the stories I wasn't able to tell before. So now I just want to make them so long because I'm just in my glory of being able to be listened to. Brittany's lips are trembling because she just wants to interrupt so bad, and this is that. It's a pretty contentious standoff. I think that goes back to getting offended and growing at the same time because like you just told me that my stories are long-winded. So if I get offended, they're just going to stay long-winded. Yeah. It's amazing we made it through our initial friendship year. That'll be
we're in a good place
this
now.
Is enough. This is enough. Like seriously.
Oh my god. We got it.
Yeah. I think the other thing that the other kind of philosophy that and this kind of goes back to some of the things that we talked about earlier is that if you're doing something or building something and it's uncomfortable, I think that feels like growth knocking on your door. I think I spent a lot of my time doing some of growing the business and doing that way too comfortable. I know for a fact that I wasted a lot of years in business being
comfortable.
Yeah.
Trying to stay comfortable.
Pretty much. I was just trying to stay comfortable because being uncomfortable was, uncomfortable.
I know. I always feel weird, actually, like if I'm not, like, scared of something or I'm not, like, uncomfortable about something, I'm like, what am I doing?
Right.
But it's weird because I think a lot of people, they start their plan. They're like, this is going to be my plan. This plan makes me comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's where they go wrong. Step one, this is the plan that makes me comfortable.
I'm so in the mindset of making sure that I am a little bit uncomfortable, that I remember there was a time last winter where I was done with all my office work and everything. We were slow and everything was taken care of and all the kids' stuff was done and everything was good. And I had about a 3-day period where like the world didn't challenge me. There was nothing going on.
We were like, this is weird.
I felt really like
I was uncomfortable.
I was feeling a little sorry for myself. I'm like, wait a minute, like is there like a problem? Does the world need me anywhere? Like, is there anything that I can help with? I'm calling my guys. They're like, Andy, go home. We have this. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, got it. I'm just like trying to synthetically fabricate problems in my mind that I could go solve.
I'm going to get into the rapid fire. I'm just going to rapid fire these ones out.
And then do you want short answers?
I'll cut you off if they're too long.
Red squirrel.
What is one daily habit that has had the biggest impact on your attitude?
Going to bed at 9:30 at night and waking up at 5 in the morning.
Every night.
Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean,
Sometimes
obviously,
you go to Detroit.
yeah. Minus the Whitney nights. Yes, I think having the same sleep pattern. I don't know. Like, to me, there's not a lot of successful things that happen after 10 o'clock at night.
True.
You could email, you could do this in your office, and you could do this, and I mean, I agree to some extent. I just really, I mean, if you have to sleep, right? So why not pick if you're really focus driven? Why not pick the most successful hours possible? I think 5 a.m. to 9:30 is money spot.
Do you wake up at 5:30 and you're just like, hell yeah?
I do. You know what? I have not set an alarm in as long as I can think. I have an internal alarm clock. It doesn't matter if it's spring, summer, or fall. When daylight savings changes, it takes me about 2 days to adapt. I can be out till 2 in the morning. Not my favorite thing, but I'll do it. I am up at 5 a.m. Maybe I'm like self-soothing, but I feel like the world needs me, and so I get up and I'm just like
the world needs me,
ready to go. I eat like
maybe we should say that to ourselves when we get up in the morning.
The world needs me.
I mean, I know mine do because nobody
tattoo.
can eat until I get up. Animals or people.
Right. So I don't know. I like to wake up in the morning. I mean, gosh, dude, it sounds so stupid, but I see my guys like coming in. I always tell my guys, I'm like, your shift starts 12 hours before your shift starts. Okay, if you're scheduled at 7 a.m. in the morning, I want you to set your alarm. These are the guys who drag in, where I'm like, bro, you're here. You're just not here.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, and I need you to also be here mentally. So set your alarm for 7 p.m. at night. They're like 12 hours in advance. I'm like, yes. That's the moment that I want you to ask yourself this question. What do I need to do to prepare for my shift 12 hours from now? If you can go to the bar and drink 20 cocktails and make it in on time and be there, then no problem. But most people cannot do that.
Yeah.
So I recommend preparing 12 hours in advance for your next day. I'm always thinking about my next day on that day. I'm thinking about tomorrow. What am I going to do? And prioritizing habits. I think those are important.
You are an early bird.
I'm an early bird.
I feel like every time we want to go out, he's like, okay, I'll pick you up at 3. I'm like, in the afternoon?
Yes. I love when people want to hang out like
early.
Yes. I love the idea. Like, you want to go out Friday? I think it works good with my schedule too, but like I want to go out at like 3 p.m. If we could party from like 1 in the afternoon till like 8 o'clock at night, oh, that would be my jam. But
yeah.
Fire me a new one.
All right, new one. Sorry, I'm taking too long now. What do you think is the biggest habit attitude-wise? How do you say positive? Like, if you're like waking up in a bad mood, which probably doesn't happen that often, what's like your like quick attitude adjustment?
I just don't really wake up in bad moods very often.
I don't either, so people always ask
I'm
me.
probably a bad one to ask that question too, because I just really don't have very many bad days.
Every day is the best day of your life.
Every day is the best day of my life.
On a bad day, what do you do?
Cry. Yeah, because if I have a bad day, like I'm probably going to be crying. You know?
Really?
Yes. And you know what? As a grown 43-year-old man, did you know that I cry like once a year? Seriously, one time a year. I am good for it once a year, where I cannot take it. You know, last time this happened, I was actually in Aruba with my kids. Seriously.
And you had a cry day?
Oh my gosh. Well, it wasn't a cry day. Don't make me sound that pathetic.
Okay, cry hour,
but
cry
yeah. It might have been an hour. I was feeling sorry for myself. My kids were being terrible. They
No,
were.
that
they
will
were.
make you cry.
Oh my, yeah, exactly. Like, I literally got to the point where I was so emotionally broken. I had nothing left.
There's something about those vacations when the kids are not grateful for it. That would break you. That would break you.
I mean, if the only problem was that they were ungrateful, like, I could have handled that. But, you know, Ace, it was a year ago, so he was 12 and he was making these sounds and crickets and chirping and barking and
That broke
stuff
you?
and spilling pops and arguing and pulling Macy's hair, and Macy's iPad wouldn't work. And Aruba's amazing. It's one of my favorite places in the world, but you always have a layover in ATL, right, or Fort Lauderdale, and then you got another 3-hour trip there. I mean, the kids were fighting over butternut squash soup. And, I mean, it was like it's just ridiculous.
This is what broke you?
Oh my gosh, yes. I finally, to the point, I mean, I begged, I pleaded, I knew I was on the verge of breakdown, and I was like, I'm going to tell you something right now. I can't handle it anymore. And then it wasn't but 20 seconds later, Ace did another, neener, whatever he said that was annoying. Like, I just broke, and I felt amazing after that. But yeah, kind of pathetic, but
I really didn't think this was going to be your crying moment.
yeah.
I thought it was going to be like way like intense business something, overly stressed, but I mean a kid will break you.
Usually it is that, but yeah. This time, yeah.
Last year's cry?
Last year's cry was.
Have you had one this year yet?
It's kind of funny. No, I haven't, but I feel like I'm due for one. It normally happens in October.
It is?
Yeah, so we made it halfway through or whatever.
Then we're close.
I felt like I wanted, yeah. I felt like I wanted to cry last week when the weight of the world I felt like was on me. There was a lot of things going on and whatnot, but yeah, I get over it quickly. But
Yeah, you just need to like scream it out real quick.
I just need to scream it out real quick and just let it go.
I like that you know what it is though.
I do.
You know, because for me,
I
so
do.
Anthony and I are totally
There's
different.
not very many things in my life I do that confuses me.
I think me too.
I'm pretty in touch with everything
What's
that's
going
happening
on?
around
Yeah,
me.
like I know I'm like a bomb, and Anthony's like a forest fire. So he'll just like gradually just piss me off, And then as soon as I explode, I'm done.
Right.
What do you think most people are doing wrong when they're building a business from scratch?
I think it kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier. Number one, not having a plan. I hate to say cliche things like that. I do. I've been told the whole life, just write down your goals and they're going to happen.
I love goals.
Yeah, I like goals too, and I think that goals are important. I think having a plan, having a target.
Oh my gosh, you should come to a goal session with me and Anthony like at New Year's. We sat down and did 3 hours.
Really?
I feel like you would love it.
Like, oh, did you do like a goal board?
No, it was almost like a packet.
Okay.
I feel like I've been doing it for a couple of years.
Right.
But I was like, I'm doing it anyway, so if you're not going to do it with me, don't bother me while I'm doing this. And he's like, I want to do it. So it was like, what was one thing this year that like happened to you that you hated? And then it's like, what's one thing that like turned out better? It's like,
Sure.
It's like that.
My goals are all like macro things. Like, I don't have a lot of like milestone goals where I just get there. I just kind of like, I'm like, this is where I am, this is where I want to finish. But I think when you're first starting, I think some of like the small milestones are super important, right?
But don't you think if you're like, this is where I'm at and this is where I'm going, what do I do in between? Like, that's what you write it on.
I like to, this would be a little bit unpopular, but I kind of wish I would have created a money goal early on. Again, money is definitely not everything in business, and you don't ever go to your job for money. You always go to your job to do a good job. Money follows. It's just a byproduct of that, right? But at the same time, let's not be naive enough to think that we're working for free. So
Right.
We know that's just not true. So I wish early on that I would have had the mindset of, what I really want to do is get this business to a $15 million a year business. I would have had that big, broad target, and I felt like I would have probably already been there if I would have had that, instead of going from like 200,000 to 1 to 2, 2 to 5, 5 to 15. Yeah, I think having a target is to answer your question in short, is absolutely critical. And then from there, if there's some milestone goals in between that target, which there will be, implementing those and here's another good one. And I always like to tell my guys this too, as I always ask them, I'm like, I want to make sure you're doing the most productive possible thing at any given time. I had a guy the other day, and really good dude. He works for me, and he was back there polishing something. But we have a guy that is new that would have been great at polishing this thing. So I'm like, well, let's get everything together. These are our list of tasks. Let's put them in order, okay? And I'm going to guess that polishing that's going to be pretty far down here. Let's do the most important thing possible. So I think having a target, to recap, and prioritizing your goals are the two number one things.
Okay.
and creating standard operating procedures.
Yes, you're really into that.
Yes.
Okay, I need you to break down the positive, negative, positive sandwich here.
Oh my gosh, your
We were
favorite.
eating a seafood tower.
We were at the reserve, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were
And
talking
you told
about.
me the positive, negative, positive sandwich. You know how it happened? I'm going to give them back to the story, and then you're going to tell
Wait,
us.
did I give you one of those sandwiches? And then
No, I saw you give somebody else the sandwich.
Oh, really?
And then I was like, what the
What was
hell?
that?
Okay, so we get the seafood tower, and the manager guy comes out, and you complimented him. You're like, this was amazing, so good. Oh my God, I loved it. And then you're like, the oysters were a little small, but in a whole, like I loved it or whatever.
Right.
And then he immediately comes out with like free oysters.
Right,
I was
yes.
like, you were like, that's what I call the positive, negative sandwich. And I need more positive, negative
Right.
sandwich now.
Right.
And we talk about it like every single time we
We
hang
do.
out now.
Yeah, there's not very many days that go by that we don't hang out, that we don't talk about the positive, negative, positive sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we shorten that up? Can we call it like a PNP? Oh, wait. Did I just get that acronym wrong?
PNP, positive, negative, PS.
PNP.
PNP.
Positive, negative, positive.
I kinda like that
We
it's
can do
long.
PNPS.
I like PNP.
Okay, yeah, PNP. Highly effective. It's the nice way of letting somebody know that they did
That you're
something wrong.
disappointed.
You're disappointed. That they may have to make an improvement.
This is a life lesson.
We talked earlier. This ties back into people who are not humble or have the inability to put their pride aside or
They
something
need
like
to eat a
that,
positive, negative.
which is most of the world. People who can't set their pride aside or who can't be humble or can't or who get offended. Right? We're tying all this together right now. It's kind of funny. They need positive, negative, positive sandwiches. You can only give them the negative if it's surrounded by the bread that we call the positive and the positive.
I think for kids too.
Sure, absolutely.
Maybe relationships too.
Yeah, I think that the first positive, what it does is it gets their guard down. It builds trust and allows them to listen to you or whatever. And it also gets them into a more comfortable spot in preparation to hear what they're not expecting, which is the negative portion of it. And then, once you bring them up and then you tell them what you want to tell them, what you set them up for, and it then brings them down, they get the point. And we're going to end on a positive note with a positive sandwich, bringing them back up to where we started while implementing our point at the same time.
While they're digesting their
Right.
idea. So it's like in a relationship, you're like, you have a really nice ass.
Right.
But you spend your money kind of dumb. But I
Right.
still like you.
Right.
Right?
But those pants fit nice. Yes, exactly.
I think they digest it better.
Yeah, for me, like I actually don't want the positive, negative, positive sandwich. I would rather you just give me the negative sandwich or whatever, so we can spend more time just having organic talks or whatever.
But most people need the
most
the
people are
PNP.
soft. Most people are soft, and they need a PNP. Yeah, I think that maybe that could be another business development thing. Master the art of PNP.
Yeah, we should do a build out. It's
Yeah.
like overcoming objections, but just
Right.
mastering the
I feel
PNP.
like we could do a chart, like the positive. What's that range, right?
Yeah, one for each category.
Right, yeah.
Like this is the relationship.
Yeah,
Can you give an example of one besides the oyster one?
Oh my gosh,
Like when have you used one at work?
It's so funny. I feel like I'm really good at giving positive, negative, positive sandwiches in the wild.
Yeah, you
but-
are. I'm
but-
like, did he just
but
post a negative, positive sandwich?
Right.
there?
Yeah. A lot of my positive, negative, positive sandwiches come organically, and they just are kind of just subliminally from within. I just let them fly. But then when asked to give an example,
You can't think of
I
one.
feel like I just can't think of one. Right. So, yeah. I just can't. I literally cannot.
I feel
think
like
of
you
one.
always compliment like people at like restaurants and stuff.
If you're at a restaurant, you're either going to get a compliment or a PNP, and that's it.
Even when they tell you to leave.
Yeah.
Is your Ed Hardy shirt?
Yeah. The chick of the Whitney did not get a PNP. She just missed a $400 tip because we were mad at her.
What's one habit you're currently trying to break?
One habit that I'm probably trying to break is using my phone less.
Okay.
Every single week, I get it's hard to get away from your phones. We're all attached to it,
Right.
whatever. But it's kind of funny. Growing up, there was this interesting statistic on people who smoked cigarettes. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but people who smoke cigarettes would spend like roughly over the course of a year, a 40-hour work week smoking cigarettes when added
Okay.
throughout the year, right? I don't even want to see the statistics
On how much time you've used on it?
Oh my gosh, it's like in between everything, and I yell at my guys for it, but I'm just as bad as it too. It fills in the gaps, right? It's an Instagram, it's a Snapchat, it's a Facebook.
Right. I mean, I feel like I use my phone a lot for work, but then while I'm doing my work, then I get texts, then I get this,
Oh, yeah.
then I get that, whatever,
Phones are such a major distraction, and it like hurts my soul. Do you get the summary every week on your iPhone of your phone
No,
usage?
I don't think I want it.
You don't want it, yeah. So like it was like, congratulations, you're down 18%, only 9 hours a day, and I'm like, now my figures are.
We might need to cry over that.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna start crying once a week now over my phone usage, but. Yeah, no, I think that definitely my cell phone.
Well, I loved this just because it was kind of like dive deeper into your brain and all of the
boy.
Andyisms that I've experienced since
Handyisms.
season 1, really.
Yes.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I'm glad that we had an opportunity to recap and
come
back on stuff and come up with new subject matter, because we don't orchestrate these things. They just kind of like.
When we go to dinner?
A little bit. What?
When we go to dinner, you mean?
No, just like
when
the
we're talking.
podcast when we're talking or whatever. So
Yeah, but I feel like that's a lot of times when like the three of us go out or we do whatever, and then we start talking about something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I loved like that, even though we didn't mean to really talk about anything important.
Right.
And then it's like, that's a good nugget of advice for other people to hear. So
I think what we need to do for the next podcast is between now and then, might be 6 months or whatever, is we need to like document like the snippets and then bring people on our journey of like the crazy things that we do.
So we need a
6
camera guy
months.
to come to Detroit to do the Wellingtons?
Oh my gosh, we might be able to get a camera guy in the Whitney for some Wellingtons.
What about that guy that drove our Sprinter van that asked you for the Girl in Green song?
Oh my, did he really?
Remember when he called Anthony like 3 days later and he was like, what was that song?
Hey, that song, I liked it. Oh my gosh, yeah. By the way, if you guys are wondering, Brittany's favorite song is called The Girl in Green by a 16-year-old kid. That song is like, one night it played on like a
It did not one night play. You were singing every word. I was like, I've never heard this song. You sang every word.
Okay, it started off as my favorite song, and now it's hers.
I was like, is this your son or his friend? Like, who is this?
That was, yeah.
We're going to blow it up. No.
Yes, it's going to go viral.
But we went in a Sprinter van to the Hardy concert, and this he had to be like 21 years old.
Yeah, he was young.
The driver.
Yeah.
So we're like jamming in the back, and like 3 days later, he texts Anthony. He's like, "Can you guys send me that song?"
Yeah. Hey, that song that you played on your playlist, That Girl in Green. Can
He's
you
like,
tell me what it was?
something about green.
Well, actually, what was interesting was, I don't know if you remember, but you did the same thing.
The next day, I was like, Andy, what was this song?
I played that, and you were like, "Hey, just real quick, I'm just curious." That's what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna start.
We need a camera guy for excursions.
We might be.
That might get us in trouble though.
Yeah, we might be able to have like a camera guy where we can embed some excursions. Why don't you guys tell us what you want to see next, and we can see if we can't whip something up.
To the Whitney and the Titanic clothes.
That's what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna document our experience. We're gonna go to the Whitney and bring that into the next podcast.
Condo touring and beef Wellingtons.
Well,
mixed with a tin roof, randomly.
Yeah, it's I feel hungover just talking about it.
Sounds fun.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And we'll talk soon.
All righty.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to this episode. Andy just handed you a full playbook of mistakes, revelations, and straight up gold. Take it, run with it, go build something even bigger and louder than any of your excuses. If you loved this episode, please share it, tag us, let us know what your biggest light bulb moment was. You can find all the details on Ward's equipment rental in the show notes, along with social media links, so please follow me. I don't think this is the last that Mike at Lau will see Andy. I am sure he will be back for another topic. Thanks again for listening. I'm Brittany Racine, and we'll see you next week.